Hidden deep in the heart of the Swiss Alps lies a countryside villa unlike any other. Stone paths wind through snow-kissed gardens, leading to a warm, beige chalet with floor-to-ceiling windows, where the woman who once shook the world of country music now writes her next chapters in silence. Why did Shania Twain trade the roar of Las Vegas for the hush of alpine mornings? Today, we step beyond the gates, through every room and memory, to uncover the fortune, music, and soul of a legend who found peace among the mountains. She was born Eileen Regina Edwards in the modest town of Windsor, Ontario, on an August day in 1965, long before the world would come to know her as Shania Twain, the undisputed queen of country pop. But there was nothing royal about her beginnings. After her parents split when she was just 2, her mother took her and her sisters to Timmins, a cold, working-class town in northern Ontario. There, life didn't wait for anyone, and it certainly didn't spare young Shania. Her stepfather, Jerry Twain, a proud Ojibwa man who adopted the girls as his own, worked tirelessly to provide, but money was always tight. Shania's earliest memories weren't of lullabies or bedtime stories, but of hunger, cold nights, and a silence in the fridge that echoed louder than any song. And yet, in the stillness, music found her. At just 8 years old, while most children were tucked safely into bed, Shania stood under bar lights, singing her heart out to drunken strangers. Midnight performances paid $20 Canadian, barely enough for groceries, but just enough to keep the lights on. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't safe, but it was hers. She would later say, "I hated the bars, but I loved the music, and music always won." By 13, she was singing on the Tommy Hunter Show. In high school, she joined a local band called Long Shot, belting out top 40 hits with a voice that didn't quite belong to the frozen roads of Timmins. It belonged to something bigger. Then came the tragedy that would change everything. In 1987, her mother and stepfather were killed in a car accident. Shania was just 22. Dreams of stardom faded instantly. Her only priority now? Survival, for herself and for her siblings. She shelved her ambition and took a job singing at Deerhurst Resort in Ontario, performing for tourists while raising her younger brothers. It would take years before fate opened a window again. She never gave up. With relentless discipline, she recorded a demo that eventually caught the ear of Mercury Nashville Records. Months later, she signed her first record deal. She was finally stepping into the world she once only saw on television screens. Her 1993 debut album, Shania Twain, went mostly unnoticed in the US, but found surprising love in Europe. Then, lightning struck. Her 1995 follow-up, The Woman in Me, sold 4 million copies in its first year, and 12 million overall. Songs like You Win My Love and No One Needs to Know dominated the charts, and suddenly, Nashville couldn't get enough of the Canadian girl with the smoky voice and fearless lyrics. But that was just the beginning. In 1997, Come On Over exploded into music history, selling over 40 million copies worldwide. It became the best-selling country album ever, and the best-selling studio album by a female artist in any genre. Man, I feel like a woman. You're still the one. That don't impress me much. She didn't just write songs, she wrote anthems. The world watched in awe. But while her name lit up stadium marquees and Grammy stages, Shania was quietly grappling with the cost of fame. The endless spotlight, the expectations, the betrayal in her personal life, it all started to take its toll. By the late 2000s, she vanished. The world asked, where did she go? The answer wasn't in Nashville. It wasn't in LA or New York. It was somewhere higher, quieter, and colder. Switzerland. It was in the Alps, far from paparazzi and pressure, that Shania Twain rediscovered her breath. She built a new life in the shadows of the mountains, surrounded by forests, horses, and snow. She found healing, not in applause, but in stillness. And now, that very stillness, once a refuge, has become the stage of her real life. Let's step inside the secluded Swiss estate where Shania Twain writes not just lyrics, but peace into her everyday. Estate in Swiss. High above the clamor of the world, tucked into a private corner of the Swiss Alps, Shania Twain's estate doesn't just sit. It rests. As if it were always meant to be there. As if the land itself had been waiting for her. Here the air is thin but clean, crisp with pine and snow. The only sounds are wind brushing through fir trees and the occasional echo of hooves across the frozen ground. It's in this untouched silence that Shania built her sanctuary. Not a palace of excess, but of intention. Purchased for around $9 million, her Swiss property is more than a luxury retreat. It's a statement. A life lived on her terms. The approach begins through a winding private road, shaded by towering evergreens. The entrance? Understated. No gold gates, no ornate fountains. Just a classic wooden gate and a soft gravel path that opens into a scene straight from a winter fairy tale. At the center, a warm beige country-style villa, its large glass panels rising from floor to ceiling, blurring the line between indoors and the snowy slopes beyond. Every inch of the home whispers warmth. The living room features a rugged stone fireplace surrounded by plush, oversized sofas, perfect for curling up with a guitar and a cup of tea. Natural wood lines the walls and ceiling, echoing the forest just outside. The colors are calming. Muted creams, soft browns, accents of sea blue in the bedroom wallpaper. A vintage clawfoot tub sits in a spa-like bathroom of soft beige marble, catching the sunlight through tall, frosted windows. There's a library tucked into a quiet corner, filled not only with books but with stories, some written, others yet to be sung. And just beyond the walls, her world expands. The estate sprawls across nearly 16 acres, 6.7 hectares, of meticulously managed land. 5 charming guest chalets and apartment-style cottages dot the property, perfect for visiting family or collaborators seeking inspiration. Then there's the indoor pool, long and glistening under rustic beams. A pool house, luxurious and earthy, sits nearby. And for an artist who's never lost touch with her country roots, the crown jewel may just be the equestrian facilities. 14 individual stables, lush paddocks, and housing for a full-time groom. Shania's love for horses isn't performative. It's daily, tactile, real. Everything here is designed not to impress, but to restore. The estate is a blend of elegance and humility, a paradox, just like Shania. She has said that writing music here feels different, more grounded, more present. You can almost picture her at the bay window, journal open, scribbling lyrics while snow drifts softly outside, or by the fire with a glass of Swiss wine, humming a melody no one else has heard yet. She once roared to the world, "Let's go, girls!" Now, in these quiet hills, her anthem has become softer, but no less powerful. This home is not a retreat from fame. It's a return to self. No cameras, no deadlines, just her breath, the mountains, and the time to feel again. But Shania's search for sanctuary didn't stop in Europe. Thousands of miles away, beneath the southern skies of New Zealand, another refuge awaited. One where mountain views met rustic luxury in a way that only she could design. Estate in New Zealand. Tucked into the rolling hills and majestic mountains of the South Island lies a hidden lodge, a place where time slows, firewood crackles in open hearths, and the scent of rain mixes with wild thyme on the breeze. This was no ordinary property. It was a labor of love. A shared vision between Shania and her then-husband, legendary music producer Robert "Mutt" Lang. Together, they didn't just build a home, they built an experience. Originally purchased for $14 million, the lodge was designed with intention, to feel like a cottage, but live like a five-star escape. The layout is simple, just 4 suites, each perfectly tailored for 2 guests. But the luxury is in the details. Each suite features a king-sized bed, an ensuite bathroom, and windows so large they seem to erase the boundary between inside and out. From the comfort of their rooms, guests can sip wine while gazing out at the jagged peaks of the surrounding mountains, some dusted in snow, others glowing gold under the southern sun. The walls are made of exposed stone and thick wooden beams, grounding the space in rustic charm. Inside, the palette is quiet, neutral tones, soft lighting, and textures that invite you to run your fingers across them. Every corner of the lodge whispers comfort, from the oversized couches in the common living area to the open fireplace where laughter and red wine often linger long into the night. And then there's the kitchen. A full-sized farmhouse-style kitchen, equipped to serve everything from breakfast spreads to gourmet dinners, shares its space with a communal dining area, perfect for storytelling, shared meals, and the kind of human connection that cities often forget. At its heart, the lodge wasn't just a luxury project. It was a deeply personal escape. A chapter in Shania's life where creativity flowed, far from flashing lights and red carpets. This was a place to be anonymous, a place to remember who she was before the world gave her a crown. Though she no longer lives there, the property remains a symbol of her connection to nature, simplicity, and the kind of understated beauty that doesn't beg to be noticed, but lingers in memory. And yet, whether she's riding horses in Switzerland or watching stars fall over Lake Wanaka, one thing remains constant in Shania Twain's world: movement. She's a traveler of landscapes and emotions, and when it comes to life on the road, her vehicles say just as much about her spirit as her lyrics do. So what does the Queen of Country drive when she's not on stage but on the move? Let's open the garage and take a look at the rides that carry Shania, through valleys, across continents, and straight into her next great adventure. Cars, Cadillac Escalade, the Road King. It's bold, it's black, and it rides like royalty. The Cadillac Escalade, with its V8 engine and luxurious leather interior, has long been Shania's go-to for touring across North America. It's the vehicle she chooses when she wants comfort, presence, and control, all wrapped into one polished frame. On long drives between shows, the Escalade becomes her moving sanctuary. A place where the windows blur the world outside and the road hums like a background melody. Friends have described it as a cabin on wheels, with its premium sound system, heated seats, and enough space for guitars, boots, and memories. Dodge Ram 2500, the workhorse. This isn't just a truck, it's a memory. The Dodge Ram 2500, equipped with a Cummins turbo diesel engine, isn't flashy, but it's fierce. It reminds her of the forests in northern Ontario, where she once hauled trees and supplies through mud and snow. She once said, "I like things that last, that fight back, that keep going when the weather turns cold." That's exactly what the Ram does. Whether towing horse trailers in Switzerland or navigating back roads during rural retreats, the Ram isn't just a vehicle, it's a nod to the grit that shaped her. Toyota RAV4, the Alpine companion. Simple, reliable, quiet. The Toyota RAV4 isn't the kind of car you expect in a celebrity collection, and that's exactly why it fits. In Switzerland, where the roads wind tightly and snowfall is routine, Shania leans on her RAV4 for everyday life. Grocery runs, morning yoga, drives to the stables. It's compact but dependable, modest yet quietly capable, much like the woman behind the wheel. There's no chauffeur here, just Shania, sunglasses on, windows down, navigating her own route, just as she always has. They aren't status symbols. They're tools of freedom, and they're driven by a woman who knows exactly where she's going, because she's built every mile herself. But what do these quiet roads and peaceful estates say about the fortune behind the music? Let's take a closer look at the wealth Shania Twain has built, not just in dollars, but in decisions. It all started with a demo tape she couldn't afford to finish. Today, Shania Twain's net worth is estimated at $400 million. But here's the twist. Despite her financial empire, Shania isn't known for flashing diamonds or sitting front row at Fashion Week. Her wealth shows up in quiet elegance, in horses well-fed, in musicians well-paid, in causes close to her heart, quietly funded. She doesn't shout her success. She lets it live. And perhaps that's the most remarkable part of her fortune, how she uses it. Because behind every dollar is a deeper story, one that leads not to a vault, but to a classroom, a food bank, a child with a chance. Let's step into Shania's most personal mission, giving back, philanthropy. Before the diamonds, before the private jets and platinum records, there was a little girl going to school hungry. Shania Twain has never forgotten her beginnings, the gnawing emptiness in her stomach, the stress of unpaid bills, the silence at dinner because there simply wasn't one. That kind of hardship doesn't just fade with fame, it fuels a mission. And so, with the same passion she once poured into lyrics, Shania poured into purpose. In 2010, she launched Shania Kids Can, a foundation created to support underprivileged children struggling emotionally, socially, and academically. For her, it wasn't a publicity stunt. It was personal. "I know what it's like to be the kid who doesn't fit in," she once said. "To not have lunch, or a winter coat, or anyone to talk to. Shania Kids Can steps in where school systems fall short, offering after-school programs, emotional support, music education, mentorship, and basic necessities. It helps children not just survive, but belong. But she didn't stop there. She founded the Shania Twain Foundation, which focuses on 3 pillars: food insecurity, youth empowerment, mental well-being. From rural Canada to urban America, her foundation quietly funds programs in the communities that need them most. And she's not just signing checks from afar. Shania is often seen visiting the very kids her programs support, listening to their stories, hugging them, laughing with them. In 2025, her foundation made headlines again, donating $25,000 to the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York, providing over 100,000 meals across 23 counties. But that's just one act in a long list. During her North American tour, she pledged to donate $1 from every ticket to food programs and children's charities. That's thousands of meals, thousands of moments of dignity, rippling outward from every arena she filled with music. What's powerful isn't just what she gives, but how she gives. Shania connects her success with service. Her albums become fuel for change. Her fans become part of a movement. Her concerts become missions. This isn't just philanthropy, it's healing in motion. She once said, "I don't want kids to grow up thinking their worth is tied to how much money their family has. I want them to know they matter, right now." That's the spirit of her giving. Not just charity, but empowerment. And it makes sense. Because for a woman who's spent her life turning pain into music, turning that same pain into hope for others, is perhaps the most meaningful encore of all. But when the curtain closes and the applause fades, what remains? Let's step quietly into Shania Twain's personal life today. A life far from the spotlight, rooted in love, nature, and the quiet rhythm of contentment. Personal life. In the quiet corners of Switzerland, where the snow drapes over rooftops like soft linen and the air smells of pine and peace, Shania Twain has built a life no stage could offer. It's not just about escaping the spotlight, it's about returning to something real. After a career built on thunderous applause and Billboard headlines, Shania's personal life today is rooted not in glamour, but in gratitude. And at the center of that stillness is Frédéric Thiebaud. Their story is the kind that only real life, not romance novels, dares to write. When Shania's marriage to music producer Mutt Lange crumbled in the wake of betrayal, it wasn't just painful, it was public. But healing came in the most unexpected way. Frederic, whose wife was part of that very betrayal, found solace in the same place Shania did, in honesty, in pain, and eventually, in each other. They weren't meant to meet. But fate had other plans. In 2011, they married in a small, intimate ceremony overlooking the snowy hills of Rincon, Puerto Rico, far from Nashville, far from press. Today, they share a life in their Swiss estate that is beautifully ordinary. They cook together in their farmhouse kitchen, planting herbs in the garden just outside. Dinners are slow, full of laughter, sometimes wine, and always love. There are no paparazzi here, no flashing cameras, just a woman who once ruled arenas, now content in a quiet kitchen. She still travels, yes, still writes, still records, still performs on her own terms. But the rhythm has changed. It's no longer driven by pressure, it's paced by joy. She takes time to hike, to ride, to write songs beneath skylights while snow falls, to spend evenings in front of the fire with Frederic, sometimes in silence, sometimes dancing barefoot to vinyl records, and she's never stopped growing. Shania recently explored new wellness practices, cold plunges, breath work, plant-based cooking. Not because it's trendy, but because it connects her more deeply to the now. She says serenity is something you have to choose, not wait for. Her son, Aya, now an adult, visits often. They share music, ideas, long conversations. He's inherited not just her talent, but her humility. What's most remarkable, though, isn't what she owns or what she's accomplished. It's how fully she lives. Shania Twain today is a woman in full bloom, not chasing anything, not proving anything, just being. No glitter, no headlines, just faith, love, and the endless serenity of snow-covered hills. And maybe that's the true legacy of Shania Twain, not just the music or the millions, but the message, that even after the highest highs and lowest lows, peace is possible. All you have to do is go find it. From global superstardom to quiet mountain mornings, Shania Twain has shown us that the richest life isn't always the loudest, it's the one lived with meaning. If her story moved you, inspired you, or simply made you pause, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this journey with someone who needs a little more music, serenity, and strength in their day.